I don't know exactly what this woman's purpose is, all right? It's supposed to be some kind of a journalist, which, unfortunately, for as far as I'm concerned, that immediately knocks you down a peg these days.
Imagine walking into a WNBA game and seeing 20,000 screaming fans instead of the usual 6,000. That's the Caitlin Clark effect happening right now across the league.
Caitlin Clark have a boatload of nationally televised games, including a bunch of games that are on actual three-letter networks, ABC, or ESPN, or CBS.
And it's causing serious drama behind the scenes. Veteran stars who've been grinding for years are watching as all the attention, all the marketing, and all the prime TV slots suddenly focus on one rookie. The question isn't if Clark is changing women's basketball, it's whether the WNBA is making a huge mistake putting everything on her shoulders. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video.
ESPN's 4 letters, but you get the point. They have some of the same kind of reach, or a very large reach, for their potential viewing audience, right? This is a cousin of Renee Montgomery, who is one of the quote-unquote owners that came out and trashed Caitlin Clark fans last year for the Atlanta Dream.
Have you noticed that in order to manage a single rookie, the WNBA is practically having to reconstruct itself? It's crazy. Teams are actually abandoning their home courts to make room for the influx of fans eager to see Caitlin Clark play, which is something the league has never seen before. We're not just talking about a little venue update here. In order to play the Fever, 6 WNBA teams, Atlanta, Chicago, Connecticut, Dallas, Las Vegas, and Washington, are moving all of their games to enormous arenas the size of the NBA. Let me explain what's going on in this situation. These teams are going to full-fledged NBA facilities that can accommodate more than 15,000 spectators, not simply marginally larger venues.
She just tells it, comes out and says it, exposes herself. They're hating on Caitlin Clark because of her skin color. The fact is, I think she speaks for a lot of people in the legacy WNBA media or some kind of media, period. Well, let me start here. The Indiana Fever will make up 40% of all WNBA games on ESPN and ABC. There's also games on ION and CBS as well.
For Clark's games, the Connecticut Sun are even moving out of town to Boston's TD Garden. Our entire city isn't big enough for Caitlin Clark, is what a team might say. The average attendance for WNBA games before Clark's arrival was about 6,000. Right now, when the Fever visit town, teams are braced for crowds 3 times that large. Not only that, but some executives have publicly stated that they would rather give up home court advantage than lose out on the ticket sales that Clark brings in. Money speaks. Take a look at these moves. The Las Vegas Aces to T-Mobile Arena, the Chicago Sky to United Center, and the Atlanta Dream to State Farm Arena. NBA or NHL games are typically held at these enormous arenas. The absurd thing is that a lot of these clubs pretended that Clark's presence wasn't significant even last year. The league was already doing well without her, they insisted. Now though, the true tale is being told by their deeds. NBA arenas were already hosting games for the Phoenix Mercury and Seattle Storm. Every WNBA team will play in NBA-sized stadiums when they play the Fever, especially since 6 teams have moved their games to accommodate Clark. Clark's timetable does not include a single little gym. When did a rookie in any sport ever experience that? Clark is being referred to by some observers as a walking stimulus package for the WNBA. When she travels, teams who often only manage to attract 3,000 supporters are suddenly getting ready for audiences of 17,000. According to experts, Clark alone may account for 30% of all WNBA attendance this season, after the league's attendance increased by 48% last year. One player who brought in about 1/3 of the league's total attendance. That has never been done before. The world of women's basketball broadcasting has just been completely upended. Clark is producing an even greater earthquake in the television industry while she fills arenas. This season, the Indiana Fever will make an astounding 41 appearances on national television. Take a moment to realize that this is more national television exposure than some WNBA teams have gotten in the previous decade combined. In real time, we are witnessing the destruction and reconstruction of the media playbook. What's crazy about this? You know, the Fever were viewed as an afterthought by networks only a year ago. Right now, overnight, they have emerged as the most attractive property in women's sports. The rights to broadcast Indiana's games are essentially up for grabs between ESPN, ABC, CBS, and NBA TV. In just a few months, the crew went from being background noise to the main event. There is a great deal of drama going on behind the scenes of this TV takeover. Imagine yourself as a seasoned WNBA player who has worked hard for years to establish your reputation. You've battled for recognition, respect, and coverage, and all of a sudden, a rookie takes over prime time slots while your games are relegated to obscure time slots or streaming-only possibilities. For well-known celebrities, that is the current reality, and it is causing a great deal of stress. There is no pretense of subtlety on the part of the networks, because ABC is aware that the Clark-Reese rivalry generates enormous viewership. They particularly requested games between the Fever versus the Chicago Sky. CBS won the games against the New York Liberty, and ESPN won the games against the Las Vegas Aces. The goal of any scheduling choice is to maximize Clark's potential viewership. This is the reason this problem is so complex. The WNBA experimented with a balanced strategy last season, providing several stars with equal advertising exposure. The watching statistics, however, made it very evident that viewers tuned in only for Clark and ignored nearly everything else. The league was forced to modify their approach accordingly. The dynamic becomes extremely awkward as a result. The distance between Clark and the other players in the league grows each time her image is featured on a new billboard or primetime slot. However, in order to stay relevant in the congested sports world, the WNBA sorely needs those ratings gains. The comparison to Tiger Woods isn't merely hyperbole. Caitlin Clark is actually revolutionizing women's basketball in a way that no one else has. Seeing league execs frantically deal with this one-player phenomenon is what's fascinating right now. They're freely acknowledging that they must strike a balance between showcasing Clark's star power and preventing the other players from feeling like underdogs in their own league. This leads to an intriguing conundrum. Clark's charisma is crucial to the WNBA's ability to draw in new fans and pack those enormous arenas. However, they cannot just become the Caitlin Clark show without offending the league's founding veterans. Imagine dedicating your entire career to becoming an all-star, only to have a rookie take center stage. Everything is changing in the Clark era, including marketing strategy, media, and ticket sales. The league is currently facing its greatest chance to date, but it also has significant growing pains. Will the WNBA be able to leverage Clark's celebrity to help everyone? Or will Clark and everyone else form a divided league as a result? For many years to come, women's basketball will be characterized by that conflict.